everybody. Joining you here from Alexandria to talk about what it means to be human. So if you are driving or at your office, I'm not going to tell you to do the things that I'm about to tell the rest of you to do. But if you are home, maybe you can join me on the floor. So I'm sitting, it's comfortable for me, but you go ahead and sit comfortable for you. And we're going to take some breaths together. So get nice and cozy. Pause if you need to the recording so you can get to a comfy space. I also want to let you know that I have a candle, I have some water by me, I have some other things that make me happy, like some oils. Oh, look, that smells so good. So feel free to kind of just settle into this space. And then when you do, relax your hands down. Maybe one, let's do one in the heart, one in the belly. Allow the eyes to close. Begin by taking some deep breaths in. And a breath out. Deep breath in. Out. We're just going to do a few more just like that. Allowing the breath to enter the body. Noticing the ground beneath you. Becoming more aware of your body. Noticing the places that might be holding a little tension, tightness. And see if you can breathe into those spaces. And let go. Take notice of what's happening in the mind. Maybe the thoughts are racing. Perhaps the mind's quiet, somewhere in between. So just taking time to notice. Releasing any judgment you have about what's going on right now. See if you can come into this space and be here. So let go of everything else around you going on, except if you're driving. Pay attention. But if you're sitting somewhere comfortably seated, breathe into that stillness. And allow the arms to go up. And drop back down. One more time. Big arms up. Back down. One more time. All the way up high towards the sky above. And back into the air. One more time. Hand on the heart, hand on the belly. Feel into your body. Okay, so we're going to go. So I brought up my sign here, human. And one of the things that I've been thinking about a lot lately is what it means to be human. So I recently, I think I'm a little late to the game, maybe some of you are not, started reading some of Brene. And as she started talking about vulnerability, which I will grab you the definition that she gives us, she defines it as uncertainty, risk, emotional exposure, the birthplace of love, belonging, joy, courage, empathy, and creativity. So that all sounds great. So what does it mean for us to be vulnerable? How do we define it? How does vulnerability show up in our lives? And how can we sort of start playing with this range of emotions? So one thing that was not new to me, but she does talk about, was the stories we tell ourselves. The stories we tell ourselves. So the story I tell myself. So I'm going to have you, if you're home and you're seated. Ooh, and I should have told you, if you also have some kind of journal, that would be great. So feel free to take a pause and grab something to write with. Sorry, I should have told you that. Write with. It's really good. Otherwise, you can just sit and think about it. So if you would, sit, take a moment, and if you're driving, you can do this too, pay attention to the road. Think about some of the stories that you tell yourself. So this could be something you told yourself today. This could be something you've been telling yourself this week, this month, this season, for your whole life. So we're going to take a moment to pause, and you can always, again, write it down. And some of this might start off with, I am, I should, I can't, I don't, I won't, I shouldn't, I will. Those are just beginning phrases, but yours can start off in any way that it comes into your mind. So sit with it for a little bit. Just come up with a few that you tell yourself. So why do we do this? See if I wrote it down. The name it to tame it. I don't know if I wrote it down. You know, if I didn't write it down, I'm going to write it down now. All right, I'm going to write down up here. That's why I have this. Name it to tame it. I did not come up with this. Name it to tame it. So another thing that Brene Brown said was, when we deny the story, it defines us. When we own the story, we can write a brave new ending. So we sit with what we tell ourselves, and some of these things don't surprise us, and some might be surprising, some of the stuff that's rattling around in our mind. So another author that I've recently found, she wrote a book called On Being Human. Her name is Jen Pastilofff. She does workshops. And one of the things she does in her workshops is she puts up this shame wall. And people write down all these words. And in her book, she talked about how it really broke her heart to see the words. I wrote down some of them. Poor, cheat, bad mom, deformed, pig, fat cow, monster, liar, crazy. So these are things that are going through our minds. I'm not saying those are your words, but these are words that people tell themselves. So when you can see the words, see the patterns, you can trace back that in your mind and then go more into your heart, into your gut of what is true, because the mind's this wild, crazy animal. And the heart and the gut, Jess Lively does a beautiful job of this, her podcast, about getting people out of their heads, out of that inner critic, and getting down into the quiet voice inside that we all have that tells us the truth of who we are, that connects us to everyone else. So we're going to take a moment and try to find that. So hand on heart, hand on the belly. If your mind's still racing, it's okay. Are you loved? Are you safe? It's one of the things Jess says that I love. So finding our worthiness, finding our enoughness to change this dialogue is huge. Not that these thoughts aren't still going to come, but that we can meet them, we can sit with them, and that we can change the story so we can move forward in our life and then create the things that we want to, law of attraction, so we can get through to what we want, create more of what we want to manifest in our life. Because if we're stuck in the fear, we're stuck in the yuck, that all these blocks present themselves. So if you're having a challenging time coming up with these nice things to say to yourself, there's an exercise that I found in the Artist Way that was really helpful. So it talks about not only naming and taming the enemy within, and some people like to give their inner critic a name or even have something that their inner critic looks like. So if that works for you, go for it. But you can also think about some things that friends have said to you, or other meaningful people in your life. Let me find it. I'm finding the champions. Here we go. 3 champions on your of your Artist Way specifically talks about creative self-worth, but just self-worth in general. And a lot of times these people have said really encouraging words that have meant things to you. And sometimes it's, or I should say, it was helpful. me, to do this exercise, to write down the things that people have told you about yourself, and use that as an affirmation to help you build out the affirmations for yourself. So let's see. Oh, do I have any of these other little things up? That was my list. Oh, you know what? Don't get through it all. Another great thing that Brene Brown talks about is when we numb out these emotions that we feel, so the shadow side, that we can't selectively numb emotions. When we numb the painful emotions, we also numb the positive. So if we want to experience more joy in our life, doing these things, journaling, asking ourselves these questions, is part of manifesting more joy. So we need both all to experience this full range of our life. So it's very important that we do this kind of work. All right, so as a review, we're all human. We all experience and feel, have these stories that we tell ourselves. Inner critic exists within all of us. And shame is for real, it's no joke. So, another thing I don't think I talked about was these shame spirals that we go down are commonplace for all of us. And so we just sort of pull ourselves out of the shame. And Brene recommends it's really good to have a trusted person to talk to, not just anyone, but someone that has earned the right to hear our stories and can give us the empathy and compassion for our stories. That's my share. Ooh, before we end though, pull out one of these fun goddess cards and then we'll have another moment of meditation. So mix it up. Here we go, ladies. So this deck is the Goddess Oracle deck. Lovely cards here. So let's see what we have for a sec. Pull it out. And take a deep breath. Good one. All right, what do we have? Ooh, surrender. She's beautiful. Okay, what does she have to tell us? Okay. Back here. Where is she? What does she want to say today? Her name is Maya. Okay. She says, come with your cares, come with your woes, come when life is joyful, come when life weighs you down, come when you take on too much, come when you are spread too thin, come when you are danced out, come when you seek renewal. All I ask when you come is that you surrender to me. Mother Ocean, my watery womb waits to hold you, nurture you, birth you anew, when you let go and give over to all of me. Nice. So the meaning of the card is that she is swimming into your life, signals a time for surrender. Are you carrying more than you can handle comfortably? Do you think you must do it all by yourself? Have you come up against a wall and feel the only way to get out to the other side is by breaking through? Surrender doesn't mean giving up. Rather, you are giving over, asking for assistance so you can do what you want to do. Wholeness is nurtured when you realize that the only way through some situations is to surrender and open to something greater. The act of surrendering is one of opening and trust. When we open and trust, we allow God's energy to work within us to achieve what we need. Sit once again, take a deep breath in, hand heart. Breath out. Breath in. And out. Lift arms up overhead. And then come back down towards center. One more time. Huge lift up. Find center. One more lift up. Nice and high. And back to stillness, come back to your breath. Beautiful. It was lovely to be with you today. Find my little, ooh, can I find it? I'm gonna end on, you're all human. You have a wonderful